This is All the Right Marketing, a publishing podcast by Cardinal Rule Press. Now, here's your host, Maria Dismonti.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to All the Right Marketing, where we talk with business owners and industry leaders about marketing their programs and products. Our guests share tips that help anyone who loves books, whether you're a librarian, a bookseller, an aspiring writer, to learn more about how to get your message out there into the world. These are creative conversations, and so let's begin. Today's guest is Monique A.J. Smith. She is a sports management veteran for over 30 years. I cannot wait for this conversation. We have never interviewed someone in the magazine publishing industry. She is in leadership for the athletic department, sports organizations, and individuals who wish to advance in the area of athletics and sports business. A graduate, professor, co-author, magazine publisher, podcast host of the nationally recognized weekly podcast, A Chat in the Garden with Monique A.J. Smith, where significance blooms in athletics and sports. I'm so excited to have her here today. Welcome, Monique.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I want to change our views so I can be able to see you as well.
Well, you know what? We're going to start with the fact that you have been in the area of athletics since you were 28 years old.
Yeah. Well, before that, actually.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. What do you mean before that?
Well, at 28, I advanced to athletic director. But I began, actually, to be honest, I interned when I was in college for a conference office. So I was a sophomore in college. But my first job, I was 22 years old and I was sports information director. So from 1990 to 96, I was sports information director. And then in 96, I was promoted to athletic director at 28.
That's amazing. So your entire career has been focused around sports and the athletics. That's really great. At what point in your career did you say, you know what, I think I want to be, sharing this information in a magazine format? Or tell us a little bit about the journey into getting into the magazine space.
Well, I've always been a consultant since 2005. But in 2013, I put my shingle out full time. And I was a consultant for the NCAA, going out doing leadership workshops. And then a couple of years later, they changed leadership and they focused their dollars on enforcement and said, so I was still contacting institutions and they just dealt with me directly. And so my podcast came about also 9 years ago as well. And so when that came about, it was about promoting women of color in athletic administration, so that when opportunities would come up, they couldn't say they didn't know where anybody was. Okay. And, but to be honest with you, it's more than just interviewing about your career path. So many people would come to me and, when they were looking for their next position, to assist them. And I'm like, okay, in my mind, I'm one of the people who know this person. What helped me was that I served on committees. I was, very national committees. So my name was out there when I got my pink slip. So I was able to transition to consulting full time very easily. But if you're not putting yourself out there, if people don't know you as an expert in an area, you're not going to be able to transition. Or even from the standpoint of being able to say what you're really good at. What is your intellectual property? What is something that you've done at every institution you have been at? And so I have to cultivate that, because honestly, going from an educator to entrepreneur is very difficult, because as an educator, you give information away for free. And so to learn—
That is the truth, because I was an educator too. Yes.
Yeah, you don't know. Like my main thing when I took my inheritance to learn how to become an entrepreneur versus getting my PhD, because getting a PhD wasn't guaranteed of work, but learning how to make the money based on my intellectual property was something I had to learn in. So I invested The same amount of money that you would invest in a PhD for 9 years. That's what I've done. And the main thing, I didn't know how to monetize my knowledge. And so I'm trying to help the women that follow me. In my companion Facebook group, there's 2,500 women in there, and they are looking to get to their next. And I'm just trying to be almost everything I've ever done. I've been one of the first. So I'm just doing the same thing, being the first, trying to show them how to get their name out there. And that's what I'm doing with the magazine, because the magazine is, again, expert marketing. And what do you do well? And what are you known for? And what problem do you solve for athletic department? So number one, it builds their confidence up. So when they go for that interview, it rolls right off their tongue. And number two, if they're ready to go into consulting, they have something to go consulting to. And number three, if they ever asked to speak somewhere, that they actually have a product.
Excellent. So between expert marketing and the magazine, what is the difference between the two?
It isn't. That is the product. So
Okay.
when you invest in a magazine,
Love that.
I give you expert marketing, and I train you to frame your mind to create a framework. So then you can get speaking engagements. So you can show the blank way how to do blank.
That's wonderful. And it sounds like it's niched in athleticism, but at the same time, it can be used for different areas, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And even in athletics, there's so many areas. I have a young lady who teaches athletic trainers, and her article was on cultural competencies in the training room. You see, I have a person who does social workers in sports.
Wow. And is the magazine in digital print format? Tell us a little more about how we can access the magazine.
Oh, it's all on Amazon. You can go print them out. I mean, you can get the soft copy. I got 2 copies right here. This is the 3rd and the 4th copy.
Awesome. Okay. So it's not a subscription then.
Oh, I do have a subscription. I do. And you can get that off of payhip.com/Seeds of Empowerment. But the magazine only comes out twice a year.
Fantastic. We're going to make sure we have all those links in the show notes. So that is really helpful. So tell me a little bit about the process of creating a magazine. It sounds like you have different writers for the magazine. And so what is your role? Is your role getting the writers for the magazine, or do you do the layout? Do you do all the things? Tell us a little bit about that.
Thank goodness I have a designer. Okay. I have a designer. And it all came about because I became a blogger for Boss Network. And I was like, this isn't hard at all. 500 words, you can knock this out. I was like, okay. And I did 3 months, and 3 months of 1 article per month. And I'm like, man. And then I had been in an anthology a couple of months before that. And I said, I want something like an anthology model, but I want pictures, and I want to be able to say the name of the institution. I want to be able, so that's why I chose the magazine piece with it. And I'll be honest with you, there are several industry magazines that highlight little segments from individuals from the different athletic parts, like athletic marketing, athletic training, athletic development, compliance, all these different areas in athletics. And it's a little box of a little head. And we get so excited when we see one Black woman. And I'm like, okay, I'm enough of that.
You're putting the whole magazine together. I love it. Mm-hmm.
That's how it came about. I was like, it has to stop, because we have got too many women out here that have really got specialized knowledge. So what I do, and that's the hard work, is to convince them that they have something to share. So they actually contribute to it. It's an investment. And then again, the expert marketing for me to help them see what's your framework. what is your intellectual property? Because they don't even realize what that is.
Yeah.
And
And
so
it sounds like you've also created this community in your Facebook group. So can you tell us how individuals can join the Facebook group?
Well, you need to be in athletic administration or sports business, some kind of area there. And just look for A Chat in the Garden with Monique A.J. Smith.
All right, we'll put a link there too.
And that's the logo right there.
Okay, I love that you created community around it in Facebook. So basically what you've done is you've taken your intellectual property and I think Facebook group is probably for free, but then you've also added another aspect of it to monetize it through the magazine.
Yes, very much so. And again, he sent me to a designer for my logo and all of that. And they did it all. The network did. But now I am on my own, on my podcast or on a chatinthegarden.com.
Fantastic. This has been a wonderful episode. Do you have anything else you would like to share with listeners as they tune in for marketing advice, tips in the industry of magazine publishing as well?
Well, I don't think people realize that my magazine is just, I have a designer who does it, and then she uploads it to Amazon. And so I don't have to have inventory. I can just send everybody to Amazon.
Because it's print on demand.
Right. And so that's the beauty of it, And then what also I do is that I sell that bulk to the contributors so that they can earn income.
Oh, that's another stream of revenue. Wonderful. Wonderful. I love that. So what is the retail price of the magazine?
$15.99.
Wonderful. Recently I've been in, I think it's Dollar General, and there's always a magazine there that catches my eye, and it's about dogs because we have 2 dogs of our own now. That magazine is like $18.99.
What?
I know.
I'm shortchanging myself. Okay, all right.
You
in
might
Dollar
be.
General? Okay, all right.
You might be at the Dollar General. I know. I'm like, how is this at the but they sell it for So check that out. And the prices, we're entering a recession, they say. So you might want to.
You are, because I just came from lunch and I could not believe. I was like, because whenever I mail a magazine, I treat myself at this restaurant beside the post office. And I just ate up my profit just like that. I was like,
I know. Well, Monique, this has been amazing to be able to chat with you today and to, share your expertise with our listeners. And our episodes go live every single Tuesday. So for those of you tuning in, we will have another amazing guest next week. But until then, Monique, you keep reaching out to those women, getting them to be contributors of your magazine and support the women who are reading it. Thank you for all that you're doing in the industry of athletics and the industry of entrepreneurs as well. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Cardinal Rule Press offers a variety of support to authors, booksellers, librarians, and families. Find out more at cardinalrulepress.com.